Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well and do well, the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, to the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners, so phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to sisters, you Akhwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson. And as you can see, this is YENY News National, right? And it says Middle East latest, Trump suggests Palestinians leave Gaza as talks on crossfire resumes. Says this is overview from News Buddy. Says President Donald Trump suggested that displaced Palestinians in Gaza should be permanently resettled outside the war-torn territory. Trump has called on Jordan, Egypt, and other Arabian countries to temporarily take in the Palestinians. Well, that wouldn't be temporary, based on what you're saying. Temporary take on the Palestinians from Gaza while reconstruction takes place. But his latest remark marked the first time he has publicly floated making that resettlement permanent. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because basically the way he was saying it, it wasn't going to be temporary. Yeah, but it was going to be permanent. Resettlement to be permanent. Right.
You are outlining something that is really quite striking tonight. You are talking about. Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister. You are talking tonight about the United States taking over a sovereign territory. What authority would allow you to do that? Are you talking about a permanent occupation there, redevelopment? And Mr. Prime Minister, do you see this idea as a way to expand the boundaries of Israel and to have a longer peace, even though the Israeli people know how important that land is to you and your citizens, just as the space is inherited by the Palestinians as well?
I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East and maybe the entire Middle East. And everybody I've spoken to, this was not a decision made lightly. Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be magnificent in a really magnificent area that nobody would know. Nobody can look because all they see is death and destruction and rubble and demolished buildings falling all over. It's just a terrible sight. I've studied this very closely over a lot of months, and I've seen it from every different angle, and it's a very, very dangerous place to be, and it's only going to get worse. And I think this is an idea that's gotten tremendous, and I'm talking about from the highest level of leadership, gotten tremendous praise. And if the United States can help to bring stability and peace in the Middle East, we'll do that. Bibi?
I mentioned again tonight our three goals. And the third goal is to make sure that Gaza never poses a threat to Israel again. President Trump is taking it to a much higher level. He sees a different future for that piece of land that has been the focus of so much terrorism, so much.
Caitlin, go ahead. Caitlin.
Thank you so much, President Trump.
Caitlin,
Follow
go ahead.
up on what you were saying there.
Say it. Go ahead,
Just
please.
to follow up on what you were saying about the Gazans leaving Gaza, going to other countries. One, where exactly are you suggesting that they should go? And two, are you saying they should return after it's rebuilt? And if not, who do you envision living there?
I envision world people living there, the world's people. I think you'll make that into an international, unbelievable place. I think the potential in the Gaza Strip is unbelievable. And I think the entire world, representatives from all over the world will be there, and they'll live there. Palestinians also. Palestinians will live there. Many people will live there. But they've tried the other, and they've tried it for decades and decades and decades. It's not going to work. It didn't work. It will never work. And you have to learn from history. History has, you just can't let it keep repeating itself. We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so this could be so magnificent. But more importantly than that is the people that have been absolutely destroyed that live there now can live in peace in a much better situation, because they're living in hell. And those people will now be able to live in peace. We'll make sure that it's done world class. It'll be wonderful for the people. Palestinians mostly we're talking about. And I have a feeling that despite them saying no, I have a feeling that the king in Jordan and that the general president, but that the general in Egypt will open their hearts and will give us the kind of land that we need to get this done, and people can live in harmony and in peace. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is Micah chapter 2, verse 1. Woe, meaning what? Judgment, right? Destruction, weeping and gnashing of teeth, ultimately by them ICBM missiles, right? That devises iniquity and work evil upon their beds, right? And bed meaning what? Their rest, right? This is their rulership. This is Esau Edom's rulership, right? And we could prove that this is their rulership. Yeah. So it's Malachi chapter 1 verse 2. So I loved you, right? Which is the Most High speaking. Saith Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakal Kadash. Yet ye say, wherein have thus loved us, right? Because we're in the ghettos, the vadios, the reservation, or whatever respective ghetto that you're in, and whatever place that you live in, right? Because we have the Israelite foreigners, right? Because the Lord said that we'll be scattered amongst the heathen, right? And some of you look like the heathen, right? Your phenotype may look like another nation, but your bloodline goes back to Israel, right? So ultimately, that's dealing with the nation of Israel, right? Because the Lord loved us. Was not Esau, right? The self-proclaimed so-called white man, Esau, Jacob's brother, saith Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakakadas, I loved Jacob and I hated Esau. Esau is, came out red all over like a hairy garment. Not that he was hairy, but it was like a hairy garment, red, right? And his name was Ashashua, which that's what you what you say, how you say Esau in the Hebrew, Ashashua, which means wasted away, which is talking about his pigment. He had no melanin, right? All nations were dark. Esau is the only nation that's not dark, right? And it's going to go into his descendants and lay his mountains, right? Dealing with he used to live in Mount Seir. Then he moved. Then he later on through history, he was in the Caucasus Mountains, and then mountain ultimately representing governments, right? And that's what he's at right now. He's out of Mount Seir, out of the Caucasus Mountains, basically ruling over the entire world. And this we're going to show you that, right? And his mountains and heritage waste for the dragon, right? Going back into the Roman Empire, right? That red dragon, the Roman Empire, the Greco-Roman Empire, which were in the second leg of the Roman Greco Empire, meaning Babylon the Great, right? NATO, EU, America, but mainly this place, Babylon the Great, embodies that whole thing, right? Because matter of fact, there's people, not just Apostle Har, but Apostle Har, you know, basically coined Trump being Nero. But I mean, there are other men that said he could be Nero also, right? Going back into the Roman Empire, right? Which also one brother mentioned that connecting it, that he also could be Nero could have also been Washington, right? Right, George Washington in the regeneration. So, you know, if that is so infactual, it's connecting this whole thing together even more, because reincarnation is biblical, whether you know it or not. So you could say you're stretching or whatever, but reincarnation is biblical at the end of the day, right? For the dragon of the wilderness, and ultimately everywhere he goes, he destroys things, right? For the one of money and goods, and basically just his own greed. It even destroys himself, right? That's how the Greco Empire crumbled, right? They had their coin and they had gold and silver. Then they started retracting the gold and the silver and things in the Greco Empire, right, which is the Greeks. Then later on, they rose again as Rome, right, knowing that they were part of the Greeks. That's why it was called the Roman Greco Empire. And then eventually did the same thing. Started taking the silver and things out of the coins, which they did that here in America, right, in the 1930s or so. They think to President Roosevelt caused that act to go forth to take the actual, because you used to actually have silver dollars, real legitimate silver dollars, and you can't find a silver dollar today, right? A silver dollar was very common, right? And throughout the years, they started retract. I think probably maybe the 70s or maybe the 80s, maybe, because I believe I remember hearing about silver dollars a little bit when I in the 80s, because I was born in the 80s. But past the 80s, I don't believe there was no actual silver dollars, and it was rare in the 80s. So it shows you this is the guy, right? That same pattern, right? In the wilderness, right? Going into, he also destroys lands and wherever he goes, right? Right. So this is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 17, that made the world as a wilderness, man. See, and that's ultimately what he does, man. He also goes in other places and you know, you know, basically destroys people, other people's land, right? Tear it up, claim it for itself, right? As you could see, right? Now after they went through and bombed it, now it's a very terrible place, and there's fallen buildings, and it's just terrible now, right? You go over there and you cause a condition to happen, right? which basically they came, wherever they went, Australia, Hong Kong, South Africa, basically all of the Americas, Canada, all the way down to Brazil, over there in Colombia, right? The islands. Before you get to America, they went, conquered and destroyed people, right? That made the world a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners, right? And they were like that during the Greek Empire, and definitely through the Roman Empire, right? Because that's how they took the Lord Yahushai, because they were especially into basically having inmates and prisoners and torture, right? That was their number one thing, torture, right? Because no other empire put you on crucifixes and things that the way that the Romans did it, right? Which proved that they were about prisons then. And if you go into the American system right now, right, we're about 4% of the world's population, but we have the most people in prison, right? Because that goes back into their whole historical who they are, right? Yeah. So historically, they've been that way. Destroy the people's land, bring in all sorts of diseases, all sorts of things, and go, oh, well, by the way, I think I like that land. think I'm going to go ahead and claim it for myself. Right? Which that was the blessing. He said, have the fatness of the earth by the sword. Right? Whereas Esau, right? Whereas Edom, right? Which would be going to his descendants, Salakia, right? Because Esau is Edom. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Yeah, so this is Genesis chapter 36, verse 1. Now these are the generations, right? Descendants, right? Through the seed, sperma, right? Geno, right? Right there. And like I said, reincarnation is biblical. So through reincarnations, always to regenerate, gene goes into to regenerate, right? Right? Your generations, right? Of Esau, Esau, who is Edom, right? So so Esau is Edom, man. So who knows? Hey, who knows if Donald Trump ain't Esau, right? Because that would be kind of crazy, where Esau reincarnated. Just speaking as a man, could have reincarnated back as Alexander the Great. Reincarnated back as George Washington. This great conqueror, because George Washington was a great conqueror, pretty much like Alex. Because I don't know, for whatever reason that's been on my mind, that George Washington was a great conqueror, kind of like Alexander the Great. Then somebody's matching that up with Trump and basically Nero. Hey, it's almost all starting to make sense. But Esau, who is Edom? Let's get to that. Says whereas Edom, right, which is Esau is Edom, right? So they through their generations, right? So this is descendants. Saith, we are impoverished, right? Going back to the Bowers, right? The Rothschilds changed their name from Bauer to Rothschild or Red Shield, right? And this is basically their way of defending and holding their rulership, right? Right? They feel if they could go take Gaza, flex their muscle, so to speak, and being the prince of the air, right? To have rulership over the earth, right? Through the spiritual demon Satan, right? saying, well, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places, right? During the time when they were the Greeks, they fell. They rose back up as the Romans. They fell. Then the one with the deadly wound that was healed, right? And that's where we're at right now. So they have returned and built the desolate places, right? And conquered a couple too, right? And then built upon that, right? In the likeness of their image, right? You go to any, especially any city in America, go to their so-called justice system, and all those buildings looks like what? Greece, Rome, was it looks like Petra, right? Going back to Mount Seir, look like Petra, right? So it shows you who they are, right? Going into the coins, you could look at the way the coins was during the time of Greece, to the time the coins are in Rome, to the coins that you have here in America, Babylon the Great, and they split an image damn near, right? So this is showing that this is those people who ruling the earth, and that's what they're doing, right? Right, with his power over the world, and he made the world what? A wilderness, man. And that's what's about to happen ultimately with this World War III. But before that, he'll make your world a wilderness and then come and claim your land, right? So, and will return and build the desolate places, saith Yahweh of hosts, right? Yahweh Bashem Yahushai of hosts, which means armies. They shall build, but I will throw down, right? So ultimately, your ultimate end is to be, to be taken out, right? Right? Because the Lord said that this time, when you're taken out, you will not return and build cities, right? So, matter of fact, let's get that, eh? Yeah, so this is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 20. Thus shall not be joined with them in burial, because thus has destroyed thy land, right? So this place, America, Babylon the Great, is greatly polluted. But then you go to other places and destroy that land, right? and the slain of thy people, the seed of evildoers, shall never be renowned, right? So your name is never going to be a prominent name in the earth, right? We're not going to say, uh, um, the self-proclaimed so-called white man. We're not going to say Donald Trump or George Washington, and it's going to ring bells when you hear those names, so to speak. It's going to be renowned, right? You're not gonna say Alexander the Great, and it's going to ring bells, right? Oh, wow, that guy's back in the day. He was this guy. He conquered and he did this thing, and it's not going to be a renowned name. Your name is not going to have. It ain't going to hold any weight, right? Prepare slaughter for his children, right? Those Edom, right? Esau is Edom, right? So prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, right? Going back to those guys, Alexander, right? George Washington, right? And even your great so-called savior, Donald Trump, right? Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, right? And iniquity is sin upon sin upon sin. Never looking towards judgment, as if judgment is never going to happen. You're just going to keep on going. Hey, I ain't going to get judged, right? And the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, right? So you're not going to possess land ever again, nor fill the face of the world, right? Because that's what you're doing. You're showing that you're the king of the world, right? You are the king of the world. So this is, and really you're just prostrating, right? You're showing that you're the king of the world by prostrating, that you're the king of the world by doing this thing, right? Taking Gaza. Matter of fact, yeah, neither feel the face of the world with cities, and this is just a way that they're prostrating. And so basically, yeah, right here, this is Al Jazeera, right? Al Jazeera News says Donald Trump says Gulf of Mexico or Gulf of America. Google Maps and contentious, was it geography Salakia. It says Google Maps will change the name of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America when US government officially makes the change, right? So this is like kind of like their way of a prostrate, showing, hey, look, we are the king of the world, right? We could just take over Gaza. We could take over the Gulf of Mexico, call it the Gulf of America, right? And there's nothing that no one can do about it. We're showing you, and it's like a way of like almost like flexing against Russia, against these other nations too, showing them, hey, we still got the juice, so to speak, right? We still got that juice, right? Yeah. To get back right here, it says see, we're in problems will return to desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Rakakadash of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall be and they shall call them the border of wickedness, right? Because this whole thing, what was happening in so-called Gaza, they were calling it, you know what, right? About how these people were being genocide, you know, right? And I would say that's pretty wicked. And you could just, oh well, we're just gonna prop up our own city, and we're just gonna say it, and it's gonna be for everybody. And now it's gonna be this multicultural uh, uh, um, utopia. Like everything's all good, except for those people been there, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years before these people got there. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, Jake was there before them, right? Which that's ultimately the Lord's going to put back His people in their land. So really, it's just they're flexing right now. They have the power for now, and to the Lord throws it all down, right? And put His people there. But knowing this, what they're gonna call the border of wickedness, right? The people against whom Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, have indignation, which means righteous anger, right? Forever, right? Yeah. So this is Proverbs chapter 8, verse 13. The fear of Yahweh is to hate evil. So right, so a righteous man will hate evil, right? And the things that Esau have done on this earth is evil. So men hate you, but so do the Most High, right? It says pride and arrogancy and the evil way, right? Everything you do is basically an evil way. And the forward mouth doeth I hate. And who hate it, man? The Most High, right? The Most High hates it. And so do I hate it, right? Because the Most High hates it ultimately, right? So you're hated by God and men, right? Okay, yeah. So this is Proverbs chapter 11, verse 5. It says, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakadash, trieth the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence, right? And that's Esau Edom, man. You're wicked and you love violence. His soul hateth, right? The Most High hates you. Because that's your whole MO, man. You love wickedness and you love violence, right? It says, upon the wicked, he shall rain snares, which means traps, man. So ultimately, all this whole thing is it's just a trap for you to, It says the least of the flock should draw him out, man. So this is all a trap, bro. It's all part of the Most High's plan, right? Shall rain snares, which are traps, fire, right? Some ICBM missiles, fire and brimstone, right? A laser beam from the chariots, horrible tempests, right? Which is the laser beam from the chariots, shall be the portion of their cup, right? And hey, that cup is going to get poured out unto you, right? Definitely. Yeah. Let me get back here before I forget to finish this up, because the precepts are just coming, and before I forget to finish this up, so I'm just gonna start back at 1. It says Malachi chapter 2 verse 1. Woe to them, Salakia, that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds, right? Which is their rulership, right? Went back, proved that they basically control of the world, right? Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, right? So that in itself, right along with all those other precepts that I gave you, prove that they're in control and the rulership of the world. But having that comes with responsibility, and when you come with wickedness, the Lord has to destroy those that are ruling the earth and wickedness, right? And it's just gonna that's just it, right? Because they work iniquity, right, upon their beds, right? They work evil upon their beds. They work iniquity. They devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds, right? Which is in their rulership. When the morning is light, right? Dealing with the Illuminati. The morning is light, dealing with this is, their rulership, right? Going into I had brought it up before, because technically, I mean, America's the face of everything, but England is 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 basically what really controls pretty much most of the world. The elites control everything from England, pretty much, and then there's an old saying that the sun will not go down upon England, right? Right, basically showing that they rule the world, right? Because if you go to sleep, the sun is on the other side of the world, but they're saying, hey, look, right? Because what proves it is what's Australia? What kind of flag is inside the Australian flag? The England flag is inside the Australian flag, right? Come all the way over here to America, and America is just a province of England. Matter of fact, those like if you go to the furthest part of America, the furthest west in America, like Hawaii, the Hawaiians speak a term called pidgin, which goes back to the so-called Queen's English, right? And showing you that all this stuff is interconnected, right? And that's them, right? So it says they practice, right? The CV-19 was a practice. It because it is in the power of their hands. So this is this is all them, flexing. Hey, I could change to the Gulf of America from Gulf of Mexico to a Gulf of America. I could change Gaza to America. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that's power, man. And says, and they covet fields, right? That's that land, and Gaza is a field, right? America was a field. Was it like I said, Australia, and all these other places, South Africa, all these different places that the Edomites came and just took over their fields, their land, basically. It says, and they covet fields and take them by violence. See? And we just heard about what the Lord just said about the violent and evil person, right? The Lord hates them. It says, and houses and take them away, so they oppress, right? So-called Native Americans, so-called Puerto Ricans, so-called Mexicans, and now they over there in the so-called Gaza, right? The Palestinians, which are not really Palestinians, because the actual true Palestinians will be Hamites, which will be very dark-skinned, um, so-called Africans, which you would call Africans. Those are actually Palestinians, which they're trying to tell them to move over there with the Egyptian, which those are not the real Egyptians, right? The people of, I believe it's Sudan, is the real Egyptians. I believe they right? Because Egyptians were really tall and dark-skinned men, right? So those are not the Egyptians, right? So yeah, take them by violence, and they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his what? Heritage, right? And those so-called Palestinians, even though they're not the real Palestinians, they have been living there for quite some time. They have been living there for, at least 1,000 or so or more years, way before these Edomites showed up. They were there, you know. So, and that's part of their heritage. And they just say, hey, look, don't come back. We'll talk to Egypt and this and that. But I mean, if they don't, you're just gonna have to find a way. Because the first initial Trump's rhetoric was like, yeah, just let them be there until we rebuild it. And then they were like, nah, we don't want these people here. Now it's just straight up, hey, look, they're going to have to find another place to be. And you're going to have to let them in. Right? Which is in turn is going to damage their economy, their livelihoods even furthermore, which is why these nations are going to turn and hate the whore. Right? Right? It's a thing called blowback. So all this is going to have a blowback, and all these nations are going to start hating the whore. Right? Germany is basically went bankrupt trying to fight the war in Ukraine. So they're going to hate the whore. They're going to hate America, Babylon the Great. Right? Yeah, so this is John chapter 10, verse 10. And it says, the thief cometh not but for to steal, right? And that's ultimately what Esau Edom has been doing, right? He's over in the Dominic, or the Democrat Republic of Congo, right? They got the vibranium, or I forgot how to say it, but it's worth 3 times more than gold. It's also in Haiti, the vibranium, that's worth 3 times more than gold. And those two places are the world's largest deposits of that, and it's worth 3 times more than gold. Then you got Nigeria, right, which had the largest deposit of gold in itself ever discovered, the greatest deposit of gold ever found in the history of the world was found there, and somehow they only mentioned it once. Haven't heard anything about it lately. But what do you think they're there for? They're in Ukraine, right? Mentioning going back to that Ukraine, which there's some type of precious mineral or something that's there. Because come to find out, they're not there because they're trying to give them democracy because they care about those people, right? They're there for to what? For to steal, right? They're stealing the earth's minerals and the things that has some type of value, right? And it says, and to kill and to destroy, and in that process, what happens? People get killed, people get destroyed. They throw coups, they trick people to fight against each other. Somehow they man, it's crazy. They'll cause this inner conflict amongst the people and have them fighting against each other while they're the whole time over there, extracting the wealth of the land, the thing that can benefit them. And then they'll turn around later on and laugh at them saying, ha, they're one of those, like Trump say, one of those, pardon my French, he says, shithole countries. But how did that become that? Venezuela has the largest oil deposit ever, but they're over there basically, well, allegedly they were starving so much that people broke into the zoo eating the zoo animals because they were so hungry, allegedly, right? So these are, bro, hey, but it ain't came but to steal, kill, and destroy, man. They don't love you at the end of the day. But I am, which starting with Yahweh, but also through his son, Yahweh Shai, I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly, right? Because through Yahweh sent forth the son. So through Yahweh Shai, we get to be joined back to the Father. And so him being our leader says, I am the good shepherd, right? And that's Yahweh Shai. The good shepherd giveth his life for his sheep. And that's what Yahweh Shai did, starting with the elect, which even you other nations, man, when you think about it, hey, everything is going to be better than it was. That's why the Lord said, and that they might have it more abundantly. It's going to be better than it was in the Garden of Eden. It's going to be better than when Israel went and scouted the land, and they went and grabbed the big cluster of grapes, and it took 2 men to take a big cluster of grapes and pomegranates, man. Right? It's going to be better than that. It's going to be better than when the initial Garden of Eden, man. So you nations, you're going to serve your 1,000 years of slavery. You're going to regenerate and come back as slaves. And then you're going to, through the reincarnation and generation, come back and finally be in a good land and have men of the Lord be priests over you, teaching you the law, statute, commandments. You're going to have to obey the high holy days and things like that. But man, you're going to, bro, when you ain't got no GMO, you ain't got nobody oppressing you the way Esau oppresses you. Bro, you should be happy with where we're about to rule, right? So with all that, I'm going to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. The elder apostles in Connecticut, the bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preach it in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, you Akwathium. who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and above all, Kwame Yasharala.